Hi everybody, Lori here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a couple of colorful slimline congrats projects to share with you. I'm going to be featuring this Fading Stars slimline stencil. Of course, you don't have to use it for a slimline. It can definitely be adapted, but today I'm going to make some slimlines. I'm going to blend it up like nobody's biz. So I'm starting with the Simon Says Stamp paper grid pad. I like to blend on it. I'll tell you why later. I've got the Positively Everything tool to sit my, my ink pads on. It kind of holds them steady. I'm using the new Simon Says Stamp ink blender brushes, starting with Lemon Zing. And I do have a panel trimmed here. It's a little bigger than a slimline card. That way I can trim it down. I always like to blend on a little panel that's larger so that you can trim it and crop it. Crop it like it's hot. Okay, next color, Jelly Bean. Again, with a very light hand, I want to get a nice transition from the Jelly Bean into the Lemon Zing, so you don't need much. Little dab will do. Okay, third color coming right at you, which is Malibu. And I'm loving, can I just say I'm loving how the Malibu matches the color of the ink blender brush. It's the little things. And it's funny how, this is why I like the paper grid mat, because every ink has a different potency. Like Malibu, for example, is very soft. You can go with a heavier hand, but like Jelly Bean and Lemon Zing, they're definitely more potent. This color here, Blue Jay, you don't need much of it, and you need very little pressure. So you kind of have to, that's why I always ink up and I tap off on the grid mat, and it kind of helps you to know how hard to press. I also find that every time you ink up and then tap off on that grid paper, it will prevent many a splotch and many a heartache. So do yourself a favor, tap off, right? Okay, moving on to the last color, which is Hot Mama. It's just a fabulous Hot Mama color. Sometimes can be temperamental to blend into the Blue Jay, but this doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're going to lay down the stencil, and that will be very forgiving. Any of the, imperfections that you might have had, this will kind of hide it. Okay, I'm going to do the same colors that I used before, kind of a tone on tone. I just go with a heavier hand. I want more vibrancy. I want more, just more, with the stars. You don't need a lot of effort because all you're getting is ink on the little star part. So it goes kind of quick, quicker than you think. Okay, so we did Blue Jay. Now I'm doing a little Malibu, and then I'll do a little Jelly Bean and work my way back to Lemon Zing. I think these colors are starting to rhyme. I could do like a freestyle rap with the my son Charlie. He's always playing these, what is it, Post Malone and these rappers and stuff. And we're always yelling at him. Every time they say a bad word, we're like, turn it off, Charlie. And he just giggles. I'm like, what are you going to do with these kids these days? Okay, now you could stop right here, and I think it would look gorgeous. But I was just feeling the bling. So I pulled out some of that Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel, and this is the iridescent. And I'm going to lay down a nice slathering of that Glitz Glitter Gel. And these are going to be the glitziest, the glitteriest stars in all the land. Totally optional, but you smear this on like cupcake frosting. And then, it doesn't take much, because then you scrape it all back off. Try to get an even coat. Lift up the stencil, steady hand. Okay, you're going to let that dry. While it's drying, going to move on to panel number 2. Today you get 2 for 1. Okay, we're going to do kind of a warm tone. Again, starting with the Lemon Zing, a very light hand, orange slush. Okay, and I'm going to try to do, now let me tell you something about orange. Orange ink is very potent. You don't need much of it. Sometimes you don't even need to add any orange ink on your brush. You can use what was left over from the last project. Next color, Hollyhock. It's kind of a combination between a red and a pink. It's just a nice little pinky red. Okay, light coating of Hollyhock right there happening. And then we're going to round it out with Twirling Tutus. Some of my ink pads, you know what I did? I don't know what happened. I think I used some type of ink pad cleaner, and I had some on in it, or maybe I used nail polish remover. Don't remember, but whatever I did started to take the label off of my ink pad. Yeah, that was a boo-boo. You know, all my ink pads are, you know, the more you use them, the dirtier everything gets. You ever see somebody's inks, you know, when their stuff is dirty, you know it's well loved. If it's clean, you might be suspicious. Okay, so I laid down the Fading Star stencil, and I'm doing the same like I did on panel number 1, just doing a tone on tone, but a little bit heavier hand with the stars. Okay, and it doesn't take much time, and it's fun to do, and I consider this an upper body workout. Okay, but I found that my background was almost too light for my taste. So I'm giving it a once over, just a little bit more. I just need a little bit more, you know. Sometimes you just need a little bit more in life, a little bit more joy, a little bit more love, a little bit more ink on the background. Okay, so I'm going to trim these panels down, and I'm going to pop them up on a Slimline prepared card base, which is 3.5 by 8.5. There you have the two. Now for the sentiment, I'm using these Kathy Zielske extra large Congrats word dies. One card is going to be in vellum and silver metallic, and one card is going to be out of white and black. These are my two go-to sentiment word die colors. Vellum and metallic, white and black. I did put a little foam tape, not going to lie. You know, what you can do is you can stack them up. If you don't want to stack them up, you can pop them up. You either stack it or pop it. If you don't want to do that, just adhere it flat down. Nothing wrong with that either. You know what I mean? Live your life. I did pop up the metallic onto the vellum too, because I love the dimension is life. Okay, and then now you got to decide which one goes on which. Either one, either way you go, I think. What do you think? I mean, I ended up going with the metallic on the glitzy silver, because if you're going to go glitzy, you might as well go all the way. You know, okay, so then I pop those up down. I'm going to do some coordinating sentiment strips. Do you guys use these sentiment strips a lot like me? I think I find I use them on almost every card. And I use these sentiment label dies to cut them out. And there you got one here. It says, so happy for you. Now this is where I run into problem. Tell me if you're like me. I can sit here for a good hour moving this sentiment strip around. Where do I want it? On the top? On the bottom? In the middle? On the left? On the right? What do you think? I can fiddle and futz with a sentiment label till the cows come home. Are you with me? Anyone else like that? It's best not to overthink it, you know, because at the end of the day, it's going to look good anywhere you want it to go. Now, here's the last part. You got to embellish. Okay, I did some clear sequins. I like the different sizes, kind of staggering them. Tuck them if you can. And there you have a couple of Congrats Slimlines. These can be used for a lot of different occasions. Like I have a daughter who just made the volleyball team. You could save it for a graduation. Could be a wedding. Could be a promotion. You know, it could just be Friday and you're going for a good old French fry. But I hope you enjoyed these videos. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.